Hello and welcome back to week 3. You ready? Okay, so we're going to go over what we're covering this week. We're going to look at 1 rep maxes, reps in reserve, mental limits and why that might be holding you back a bit, and then tracking nutrition. So what to expect from week 3? Well, we're continuing with our weightlifting program, but we're splitting it. So we're looking at upper for the first session, lower for the second, and then back to upper. This means that we can push harder and more intense, and then we can have more time to recover. This is great for encouraging muscle growth, but also being time efficient. We can get more workouts done in the week without having to wait for the whole body to recover before we do the next workout. We're looking at doing 2 cardiovascular interval sessions, just to get our hearts going, but also 1 plyometric session, and that is quite hardcore. 4 exercises, you do 20 seconds each, have a little rest in between, go on to the next one, little rest, next one, little rest. It's quite intense and it will get you pushing your heart and lungs. And then we're going to look at some learning. We're going to look at today reps in reserve, 1 rep max. We're going to look at fueling the body tomorrow, and the importance of macros on day 3, then the importance of sleep and hydration on day 4 before we finally round off the week. It will fly by. So 1 rep max. 1 rep max is the amount of weight you could lift if you were only lifting it once. That is your theoretical limit. And we use this to work out where you should be when you're doing, say, 70 or 80% of your 1 rep max. So if you're lifting 10 kilograms, say that's 80% of your 1 rep max on a bicep curl, you should be getting somewhere around 8 reps per set at that weight. You'll notice when you go into Everfit this week and you look at the different workouts that I've put a percentage for 1 rep max, and the app will have suggested a weight. The weights haven't been put in there by me. These weights are based on what information you put in last week. So it might give you a funny weight that might be something like 11.6. You will need to round that up to the closest weight. You can either round up or round down. That's okay, it doesn't matter. But then try and meet the rep range that is given, because that is important. The more data you put into the app, the better it will get at guessing your 1 rep max and giving you accurate percentages. So make sure that you're using and accurately recording the data in the app, and that will help. There is a really handy calculator on my website as well. If you go to futureyoupt.com and then find the handy fitness calculators page, there will be a 1 rep max. If you lift a heavy weight for as many reps as you can, and then you input the weight and the number of reps, it will be able to tell you what your 1 rep max for that weight is. Okay, so 1 rep max is very important. You need to understand it. The second thing you need to understand is reps in reserve. Now this is a measure of how hard you're pushing yourself. So it can be quite easy to get to the rep range that is given in the program. So it might be 8 to 12. If you've got the weight completely wrong, it could be really easy to get to 8 or 12 reps. But I want you to think about this. How many more reps could you do? If you've got to 12 and you stopped, how many more reps in reserve have you got? If it's something over 3, you need to adjust the weight. So we're always aiming to get as close to failure as possible, because that puts the stress on our body that then leads to muscle growth. So you're aiming for 1 to 2 reps in reserve, and if you're getting to that level at the end of a set, then you're probably getting the right ballpark weight. The other thing to just consider this week are your mental limits. Your body is going through a lot of stress when you're putting it through a weightlifting program. And it's not just stress on the muscles, it's stress on the nerves, it's stress on your mind as well. Your mind has a fail-safe. It wants to protect you, And the way it will do this is by saying, whoa, 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 I can't do that. It's going to hurt. No. So you feel like you're actually at your limit. You say, oh, no, I'm at my limit. But the US Navy SEALs have a saying, if you think you're at the limit, you've still got 60% left to give. That's true when you're running, it's true when you're weightlifting, it's true in a lot of other things. Your mind will kick in before your body is actually ready to give up. So remember that when you're thinking, yeah, I'm really at my limit here. You've probably got a bit more in the bag, but we need to ease ourselves in. So make sure you're thinking about reps in reserve. Make sure you're following that kind of progression from 6 reps to 8 reps to 10 reps to 12 reps, then increasing the weight and then dropping back down to 6. Ease your body in constantly, and you will find, again, if you're looking back at the gain, not the gap, you will see that you've actually come a long way, and things that you thought were pushing your body really hard are actually quite easy now, because we're slowly pushing our mental limits as well as we are our physical limits. So think about that mind-muscle connection, and think about every time how you can make that exercise a little bit more challenging for you and your body. So we're going to talk a lot about nutrition this week, and one really key thing is tracking your nutrition. A lot of people, I think, are not fully aware of actually how many calories they're taking in, how much protein, how much fat, how much carbs, all of those things. And it isn't until you start tracking it properly that you'll really get a gauge of how successfully you're fueling your body. Protein especially, I've banged on about it, I'll keep banging on about it. You need to understand how much protein you're getting. So, a couple of easy ways to track your food. MyFitnessPal and Cronometer, 2 good apps. They both integrate with Everfit. So if you continue with my program, you will be able to use them in the app. We'll be able to then set some macro limits, and you can track that quite easily. Cronometer has a free barcode scanner, so you can just point it at a food packaging, enter the amount that you've had, and it will then record all the macros. MyFitnessPal, if you didn't sign up in the last 2 years, I think it was, you have to pay for that, but you can still manually enter it. Both of them have their pros and cons. It depends on what's suited for you. I would say download both, have a play with them, but definitely get in the habit, even if it's just for a week or 2 weeks, track everything you eat so you understand your baseline figures. So it will be a big week for confidence boosting. I think when you start seeing some of the exercises coming up again, you know what you're doing, you can then start pushing it a bit harder, you'll feel more confident. So this is great, but remember, keep focused on the basics, think about the mind-muscle connection, remember to think about your reps in reserve. If you want, film a couple of exercises, have a look at them, especially from different angles. If you're looking straight on, you'll see one side. If you film from the side or from the back, you'll see a totally different side of things. If you want to send them to me, you can do that through the main messaging section in the app. I can then give you some feedback if you want. I hope you enjoy this week. Again, I'm always at the end of a message, so just drop me a message if you want any help or you've got a question, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Have fun.